Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with episode 4 of Chart Watch, where I look at what's been happening in the UK album charts and pick on a couple of artists and tell you about what the kind of breakdown is between CD and vinyl sales, and also look at some of the kind of things I know that you Now Spinning Magazine subscribers will be more interested in. And then I look at the kind of more specialist charts like rock and metal, and then look at a couple of reissues coming along on the radar that I think you might be interested in. And this week, it's a bit of a rant. Anyway, let's dive in and have a look at the album chart in the UK for this week. So here we are with week 38 in the UK, and I'll just zoom in a little bit if I can help you here so you can see a little bit what I'm talking about. Now, the biggest change, or the album that I'm looking forward to buying the Super Deluxe edition for this, to be honest, and that's Pink Floyd and Animals. First released in 1977, but here it is straight in at number 5 in the charts. Now, to get to number 5 in the UK album charts this week took 7,183 sales, and that's got a good chance to be mainly CD and vinyl, I would say. I doubt if there's very many downloads in that at all. Last week we were hoping that Ozzy Osbourne might make number 1, as he has done in the USA, but no, unfortunately he hasn't. He's dropped from number 2 in the charts down to number 32 in the charts, which took us sales figures of 2,228 to stay at number 32. And it's like I mentioned last week that the kind of like audience base of a fan base of an artist, everyone rushes out to buy the album in its first week of release. Everyone's got it, is really interested, and it kind of then starts to slide down. Also in here is at number 45 is the Stranglers, and their sales are 2,203 to get number 45. So that tells you a lot, that the distance between the top 30 and the top 40 is probably just in the tens. The difference with all these chart positions around here has got to be not very many at all. And in fact, to bring that, to illustrate that even more, Creedence Clearwater Revival with their concert from the Royal Albert Hall, which is being released at long last, has come in at number 59 in the charts, and that's got sales figures of 1,643. So those are the kind of numbers at that level. So just out of interest, what about the entries above Pink Floyd in the charts all this time after 1977? There's a band, a South Vietnamese band, straight in at number 1, called Blackpink. Now, for a lot of people who are in my demographic probably don't know much about this band, but what I've found interesting, why I want to mention it, is the sales figures and the breakdown of the formats. To get to number 1 this week in the UK album charts was just under 21,000 copies or sales, so 20,957, of which that broke down to 11,640 CDs, 5,067 cassettes. I must try and take this format more seriously. Look, I grew up with cassettes, okay? I just don't understand it. And there were 839 downloads and then 3,500 streams. No vinyl, it would appear, for this release, which I find interesting considering that's all the major labels keep pushing is vinyl, vinyl, vinyl. But, nearly 12,000, over 50% of the sales were actually on CD, and another 25% on cassette. Suede were in at number 2, and they had 14,000 sales to get to that point. So I want to show you 2 reissues that are coming up soon on the horizon, and I bet many of you have already seen these appear on other websites, and I've not mentioned them before, but I feel now I must. Now, this might be a separate video, or it's certainly going to be a blog post on the Now Spinning Magazine website. Bonkers, box sets and rubbish reissues. I've got so spoilt in buying things from Esoteric and Cherry Red, and some of the great things like the ones behind me from Mad Fish. Me personally, I have a cut-off at about £250. It has to be a really special artist, but around 150, 125, 60, 80, depending what it is and what you get. I think box sets are fantastic, and there's a huge market for them. It may be niche, but, if they're done really well, fans will buy them, and they are things to treasure. They really, really are. The recent Slade one, the live one, musically fantastic. The execution, not so much. But these two, I just don't understand these at all. Now, one of them is Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion, which is a 12 LP super deluxe set, about 450 quid. There is a 7 CD version, that's £250. There's Blu-ray versions, there's 2 CD sets as well. All sorts of bells and whistles, a lot of live stuff. But the fact is, if you're into CD and you want to get all of this, you have got to buy the 7 CD version, the Blu-ray version, the Super Deluxe version, and the 2 CD versions to get every audio recording. Because strangely enough, if you the audio on the 2 CD versions, which is obviously the cheaper version, contains audio that is not included in the Super Deluxe Edition box set. You would think if you were spending that amount of money, you'd have everything in it. You wouldn't need to buy anything else, but not so. And the same with the Blu-ray versions. There's no 5.1 mix. And the other one is the Seal box set. Fantastic album, the Seal debut album. But there's only one physical product, and it's 4 CD, 2 vinyl albums. Side 4 is in etching because the album doesn't stretch to two records. There's no separate CD, no separate vinyl. You have to buy that one. That's it. And it's nearly £100. And I don't quite understand this. It makes me... I've worked in marketing all my life, and not always in music, with lots of different things. And sometimes, the amount of times I've been in marketing meetings where people have come up with these ideas, tried to think of the most maximum return you can get on the investment. And then I've turned around to people and said, I know we're doing this, but would you buy this yourself? Would you go for this hotel offer yourself? And the person go, well, no. The people you're marketing to, the target audience, are just normal people. We're not aliens or idiots or people with like bottomless pockets who just keep buying the stuff we've already got. We love supporting the bands and collecting music. We love that. But and it's not really even, I'm not even going to say it's a fine line between where you can start to feel ripped off or not. It's actually quite a broad road. But I think on reissues like this, it just hasn't been thought through. And I think if a good example would be the Uriah Heep one, the 50 Years of Rock, where BMG decided to merge 2 classic covers to stick 2 albums on 1 CD to cut corners, and it was just a mistake. We've got to respect the people who buy this, and also don't just presume that people that buy physical media will want both. I do for certain things. I will buy the vinyl version because I like to, but not everybody who is into CDs wants the vinyl version. So the Seal one, which is nearly £100, the fact that you can't buy a separate CD, and the other thing is, of course, we're very, very sceptical music fans on this. You see this, and it's a limited edition, and it's exclusive, and then 4 months down the line, these things start to pop out on their own, and so whereas you're thinking you're going to make tons of money, people either wait to see if the price will drop, or they just wait to see if these things get released on their own, and the people who have spent the money feel shortchanged and a bit ripped off. So I'm sorry, it's a bit of a rant this week about the reissues, but there are lots of fans in this for both of these artists, and this really seems to be like really trying to get as much out of this audience while you can, really. That's just how I feel. So Let me know what you think in the comments, especially about these two box sets. As I say, it's going to be a blog post, and I've already got lots of comments coming in from Now Spinning Magazine Facebook community members and what they think and what makes up a good box set. But this channel, this website is all about physical media and box sets, and we'll do everything we can to support the bands and the labels that produce them. But really, perhaps with people like myself and Paul at Super Deluxe Edition, you should send out some emails and say, we're thinking of doing this. What do you think fans would like? What do you think would go down well? What are fans looking for? And I'd be absolutely delighted to help. I really would. And so would everyone who subscribes to this channel. No doubt in my mind. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting Now Spinning Magazine. Thank you to all my patrons, especially Yogi, Clive and Chris, and everyone else who does everything you can to push the Now Spinning Magazine message out there. Stay safe, keep spinning those records, and I shall see you on my next video.